Good morning, good day, good afternoon, evening, night, or whatever time it is that you're watching this. My name is Elisandra Almodovar Gonzalez, and I'm going to be presenting my own report, which is about the expectation of marriage and its emotional psychological effect, especially on the character Gwendolen from Daniel Deronda. So let's start. Um, Gwendolen is presented as a beautiful, brave young woman whose beauty was very appealing to men, but she didn't seem interested in relationships or marriage at all. So we see throughout the novel how her perspective on marriage and love changes as she starts meeting potential suitors that genuinely spark interest in her. And my first quote is, well, but what is the use of my being charming if it is to end in my being dull and not minding anything? Is that what marriage always comes to? No, child, certainly not. Marriage is the only happy state for a woman. I will not put up with it if it is not a happy state. I am determined to be happy, at least not to go on muddling away my life as other people do, being and not doing and doing nothing remarkable. I have made up my mind not to let other people interfere with me as they have done. Here's some warm water ready for you, Mama. Gwendolen ended, proceeding to take off her own dress and then waiting to have her hair wound up by her mama. Um, so Gwendolen is very clear from the beginning of the story that she wants to be happy rather than get married, since apparently the only way for a woman to be happy is to get married. But she wants to be happy, have a nice life rather than a dull one, all the while keeping her charms. And Mrs. Davilo exclusively believes that women can't be happy outside of marriage, as if working towards getting married is what will make everyone happy. But of course, achieving a nice social status will bring less judgment, especially if the woman were to marry a wealthy, well-respected man. So the second quote is part of the longest one. If she was to be married sometime or other, she would have felt obliged to admit, and that her marriage would not be of a middling kind, such as most girls were contented with. She felt quietly, unargumentatively sure. But her thoughts never dwelt on marriage as a fulfillment of her ambition. The dramas in which she imagined herself a heroine were not wrought up to that close. To be very much sued or hopelessly sighed for as a bride was indeed an indispensable and agreeable guarantee of womanly power. But to become a wife and wear all the domestic fetters of that condition was on the whole a vexatious necessity. Her observation of matrimony had inclined her to think it rather a dreary state in which a woman could not do what she liked, had more children than were desirable, was consequently dull, and became irrevocably immersed in humdrum. Of course, marriage was social promotion. She could not look forward to a single life, but promotions have sometimes to be taken with bitter herbs. A peerage would not quite do instead of leadership to the man who meant to lead, and this delicate-limbed sylph of 20 meant to lead. So Gwendolen doesn't see marriage as some sort of goal like other girls and women do. For her, it's just not another fulfillment to attain. She wanted to be the heroine, be hopelessly sighed for her beauty, to show how much womanly power she could have. And carrying the wife mantle along with domesticity seemed humiliating for her marriage. For her, marriage was just being forced to do the things you didn't want to do while being repressed of what you desired to do and could think. Forced to have more children than anyone would want, and living a boring, monotonous life that had no escape. A simple-minded promotion to get women under the control of men, and Gwendolen did not want to be controlled by a man. It's the third quote. I don't believe it. I never saw a married woman who had her own way. You don't mean you would never be married? No, I didn't say that. Only when I married, I should not do as other women do. You might do just as you liked if you married a man who loved you more dearly than anything else in the world, said Rex, who, poor youth, was moving in themes outside the curriculum in which he had promised to win distinction. I know one who does. Gwendolen, still up to this point in the story, believes that a married woman will never have the freedom she deserves to have. Obviously, marriage is an expectation for her that she can't deny and will always be in her book. But she simply cannot see herself in a marriage in which she will have no control of her own life or decisions. On the other hand, Rex believes that a woman can be as free as she wants if she were to marry a man who loved her more than anything else in the world, as he would grant her all the liberty she were to desire. Specifically in this scene, it's because Rex is about to confess his love to her, that he loves her very much and he would love for her, unironically, to love her back, but that is not possible. It's the fourth quote. I shall never love anybody. I can't love people. I hate them. This scene was after Gwendolen's rejection of Rex's love. I managed to catch that she felt a little repulsed at the idea of loving someone and someone loving her back. Someone who wasn't her mother, but a potential suitor. And I can believe that the idea of love and marriage for Gwendolen is a disgusting one, as she doesn't know how to deal with her emotions when a confession happens. Especially during the scene when she seemed angry that he even thought of confessing to her. Like, why would he even do that? This is the fifth quote. It's, Mama, I see now why girls are glad to be married, to escape being expected to please everybody but themselves. I did have to think quite a while on this quote to really internalize what it could mean. But from what I can understand from this quote is that married women or girls leave their try to achieve their happiness for last after pleasing everyone else, as they are not the priority. Meaning that women don't see themselves as being a priority to themselves, rather that they should be a wife first and then they become their own person, a woman, as it can be considered. And now this is the last quote. The prospect of marrying Grandcourt really seemed more attractive to her than she had believed it beforehand that any marriage could be. The dignities, the luxuries, the power of doing a great deal of what she liked to do, which now had come close to her, and within her choice to secure or to lose, took hold of her nature as if it had been the strong of what she had only imagined and longed for before. In Grandcourt himself, he seemed as little of a flaw in his fortunes as a lover and husband could possibly be. Gwendolen wished to mount the chariot and drive the plunging horses herself, with a spouse by her side who would fold his arms and give her his countenance without looking ridiculous. Certainly, with all her perspicacity, and all the reading which seemed to her mamma dangerously instructive, her judgment was consciously a little at fault before Grandcourt. He was adorably quiet and free from absurdities. He would be a husband to suit with the best appearance a woman could make. But what else was he? He had been everywhere and seen everything. That was desirable, and especially gratifying as a preamble to his supreme preference for Gwendolen Harleth. He did not appear to enjoy anything much, but that was not necessary, and the less he had of particular tastes or desires, the more freedom his wife was likely to have in following hers. Gwendolen conceived after marriage she would most probably be able to manage him through roughly. In this quote, the idea of marrying someone that might provide Gwendolen with the freedom she has been yearning and seeking for makes her believe that marrying Grandcourt wouldn't really be that bad, especially when all the ideas she had of him turned out to be untrue and he showed zero interest in her for the first time they met, as she believed he would, since she would be receiving what she wanted to gain in the beginning, which was a husband to help with her social status and get the family off of her back, and have a companion that would respect her wishes and boundaries and go even as far to support her. And then later on, Gwendolen could do with him whatever she wanted, because he should become a pliable man under her control. In conclusion, Gwendolen is a very complex character, emotion-wise. She is very strict about her judgment, feelings, and beliefs, and barely bends it to fit what others may believe of her person. I was surprised when I started seeing how her idea of marriage had started changing, from Rex's love compassion to meeting Grandcourt. Others' opinions about marriage seemed useless to sway her, even her mother's. And Gwendolen didn't care about her social status, since she was more aware that she had to be happy and make herself proud first, to be able to gain what other people wanted of her, and she seems to be a misunderstood character for not understanding or having feelings others had with the same easiness it came to them. Still, imagining herself being married wasn't a very appealing idea, and the following circumstances will change her mind to the subject about the subject. So thank you for all of your attention. I hope you enjoyed it and have a good day.